Brumrunch. Yep.
What could this be?
I don't know. Have you've obviously watched the Fantastic Four trailer.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
What's your initial thoughts of the trailer then?
It's interesting. It's got a kind of look to it that's different from the other ones that I've tried to do. So I'm guessing in a way they're kind of bring it round about the era that the comics first came out. Like, by the
The
looks of it,
60s, I
kind of
think.
got yeah. So it's kind of got like a oldie sort of vibe to it. So like 60s sort of vibe to it. So
Yeah.
looks interesting. Um, yeah.
Oh, it does. As you can see, it's kind of 60s vibe. I don't know what you think about the Thing, but I think he looks quite big, but his head looks smaller than the rest of him.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a pea head.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's just kind of weird. Doesn't look quite right.
Might grow on you.
Right,
No pun intended.
might do. Right. Oh Jesus! Right. So obviously, I think this film starts off with we already know that they are the Fantastic Four. It's going to kind of just give you a brief sort of backstory of what happened.
Mhm.
I think they're on this sort of TV show, all suited and booted. What do you think of the costumes that they're wearing? Do you think it looks quite retro? So kind of like the
Um,
original comic book.
yeah, they've definitely done well with the costumes and stuff, and kind of sticking to the original material. Um, so which the fans might actually like this time, whereas before they had so many issues with the other ones that they tried to pull out. So they're hoping that obviously by pulling out the original content and you know making it making the costumes look more like oldie, shall we say?
Hmm.
You know, so hopefully it goes over well.
Hopefully. So we get them sort of like in their sort of their apartment sort of complex that they're in. And they're kind of cooking with the thing. Oh, what the hell's going on there? There we go. And they arrive late for dinner, which is um Reed Richards and Sue arrive late for dinner. John is like, you're late. And like, yeah, what? For dinner? Yeah. And then obviously the thing says that, oh, you're pregnant. And they're like, oh, yeah, yay. Congratulations. Wow, fantastical. Yeah. Um, then we get this big thing in the sky. It looks like bright orange kind of disturbance. Uh, got a kind of sort of a futuristic kind of car thing that they've got that they arrive in. Uh, Sue Storm looks far on pregnant by this point. What do you think of the Silver Surfer? Because Silver Surfer looks obviously this time it's a woman, but I don't know what the effects look a bit different from last time, and I don't know if they hold up as well as they did back in the 2007.
The effects definitely look good, and things like that. I was just waiting for the onslaught of going, oh my God, the Civil Surfer's is a woman and all the rest of it. I haven't really heard much in that respect.
No.
You know, so I'm guessing there'll probably be a minority that's got an issue with it. I don't, to be fair, personally, as long as they do a good job with it and, not just let it fizzle out or make it look stupid, you know. But,
Mm.
yeah, I think, as I said, the effects look good and I'm interested to see how they go with this, So
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about them injecting Silver Surfer this early on when they've just started the reboot. Maybe because they've tried it last time and it didn't go over well. So, like, I think they could have waited maybe another movie before bringing the Silver Surfer into it. Um,
Mm.
like, that's my personal opinion, really, because obviously. we're getting to know these characters. Like, I know it sounds stupid because like there'll be a lot of people know who the Fantastic Four is, but they could have just spent a bit more time on, you know. But I'll wait and see what comes out.
Yeah, it could do. I think the kind of plot is that what I'm assuming is that obviously Galactus is going to come and probably destroy their sort of universe, and then they're probably going to go into the main universe with the rest of the characters, I would imagine. And I think that's how they're going to get into the main universe with everyone else, uh,
Yeah, yeah,
which
you're
would kind
probably
of make
right.
sense.
Yeah, you're probably right in that respect, to be fair. So, um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Fantastic Four, the first steps. We see Galactus foot stomping through New York. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see if the special effects are better than 2007 with Galacticus. You know,
surely, like a lot of time's passed. Like nearly 20 years has passed. But
mm.
so and it comes out on my birthday as well. But hey, um,
Hey,
but yeah, I think they'll do a pretty good job. It does look pretty good what I've seen so far, um, as well. So for once, I've got a bit of optimism about me. It might change when I watch it and go, fuck's sake, what have they done? But I've always had the impression though that Galacticus was a lot bigger than that. You know what I mean? Like than just stomping through, like like we see that end bit where it's like Galactus is like walking through the worlds. I thought it was like this giant entity that
Mm.
eats worlds rather, unless he can shrink down, I suppose. But
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it looks all right, and just have to wait and see. And like the trailer looks all right, so we'll just have to wait and see the film's any good. Anyhow, right on to the next trailer. We've got 28 years later. Now, I was a fan of the 28 days later. 28 weeks later was all right. It was not too bad. Um, but they're back. They're doing 28 years later. So, what do you think of the trailer then? Do you think it's good or do you think it's a bit cack?
it does look good. Don't get me wrong, but I hated the whole song thing that they had in the background. It just kind of, I don't know, like it just the constant. I can't remember what it all said. The voiceover when
Hmm.
like, through the trailer. It just didn't sit right with me. It just annoyed me. I get that it was like to build like kind of tension and all the rest of it, but it just kind of annoyed me. I don't know if it did that with yourself or what. Just like the constant repetition of it as well. Like it would have been okay if they just did it like maybe for a few seconds or whatever, and then just let the rest of it play out, or at least have the sound in the background or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the trailer looks all right, I suppose. Depends. It looks like we've got these sort of looks like they're humans that turn kind of cannibals. I think. In this one, we've got some army people as well. I think. Get this good looking dude. Very healthy.
what I'm
Um,
interested in seeing is the fact that so it was established quite early on that these virus, the people that are infected and everything else, they die out. They're not like normal kind of zombies and that, like um, but they're still human, but they have the rage virus sort of thing, and they're infected. But I'm just trying to think of what I'm trying to say here is, I'm quite interested to see how the people infected have still managed to dominate the world, whereas I think it was established in the first one, was it? Where it was like because you saw like near the end of the first one where you saw the image of the one that was like practically dying, and it was like to indicate that these things do die.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And at this point, 28 years after the infection, and well, even in the first one, you saw that there wasn't a lot of people left in Britain before it went global.
Mm.
So where are they getting their food source from? Like as well. Like I know animals would probably be a good probably source of meat for them as well, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of explaining to do to see how things have progressed 28 years later and see where we're at in terms of everything. We'll get this. It looks like sort of cannibalist kind of zombie guys, and this priest. Um,
By the
so
way, by the way, is Killian Murphy in this one?
rumored to be
Do
so.
we know?
I don't know.
Do we know? Do you think he's in a flashback or something?
People keep saying that he's supposed to be, but I don't know. I've not seen anything to say that he is genuinely in it, but I don't know.
Because I'm sure I might be wrong, but in the trailer, I'm sure I saw maybe not a tombstone, but something saying James on it, and it looked like he might have been dead. I don't know.
Yeah,
I might have to have a look at the trailer again, but I'm pretty sure I had the impression from that he was dead. But I have to have another look at it and double check.
I don't know. Maybe
Maybe he's in a flashback or something. I don't know, but
I don't know. So kind of this is on the 20th of June this year. It's coming out at the cinemas. So well, it probably depends on how well this one does, whether they'll do any more. Um, I'm not sure how long they can continue to drag this sort of series out. Um, I don't want them constantly dragging it on forever because it gets a bit boring after a while, doesn't it?
oh yeah, like I reckon they should end it after this one. Like you know, three is the magic number, isn't it? Like you know what I mean. You don't want to kill it.
Mm.
You know, the first one was brilliant. That was really innovative. Second one wasn't too bad. You know, what kind of saved it for me was Robert Carlyle was in it.
Yeah,
you know, um, and there was a good premise to the actual story. And this is the third one. Like you could, the third one you could do anything with it, which you could see there. And it could be the fact that obviously the humans, you could end it like, well, the humans have all died out. you know what I mean? They've tried, but obviously inevitably, they've reverted into the infected. I think that would be quite a good ending. It could be unexpected, maybe in some ways. I don't know, but I hope, like you said, you don't kill it by producing more and more and more to the point where it's like, oh, fuck's sake. It was kind of like with The Walking Dead, wasn't it? Like after like so many seasons, I think it was after the sixth or seventh season, people started getting sick of it, weren't they?
yeah,
It was around about the time after when Negan kind of came into it and the whole war, and then people were kind of over it by then, weren't they? So
yeah. They kind of dragged that storyline out for good what 2 or 3 seasons, with Negan, and it kind of just
yeah,
got boring after a while. Yeah, and then they did another 2 seasons on top of that. So, and then we've got
I
all
think
the
there's like
spin-offs now as well. So,
yeah,
you know.
I think you've got 11 seasons of The Walking Dead, and then
Mhm.
you got two seasons of Daryl Dixon, I think, with another one on its way. I think The Dead City's got 2 seasons, if I remember correctly,
Yeah, it's two.
and obviously the ones who live with Rick coming
Mhm.
back. There's only one, I think. I think there's rumored to have a second season coming out, isn't there?
I think so. Yeah, and then we've got Fear the Walking Dead as well, which is like what's like 6, 7 seasons or something like that as well. I think 8 maybe. So yeah, and then there was that other one. There was another spin off. It had like 2 seasons as well. Can't remember what it was called. I think it was Worldwide, or something, was it not? New
World
World or
Beyond.
something. World Beyond. That was it. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of gets on for a bit, but I don't know. We'll probably check it out and see if it's any good. Um, I think quite a lot of fans will be checking it out to see what it's like because obviously they were obviously fans of the original and then the sequel, the second one, which was not too bad. But I don't know. Wait and see. Anyway, so there's a bit of Star Wars news which is coming out about the future of what they're going to be doing. So, meant to be May next year. It's meant to be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Basically about them two. Don't know, John Favreau and what's his face behind it. Which of I can't remember what's his name again. The guy with the cowboy hat. Oh bloody hell. I don't know. It'll come back to me.
I can't think either, but yeah, I know who you're on about.
Aye. So have you caught up with the Mandalorian? There was like 3 seasons. So
I think I only watched it up until the second season because that's when Luke came into it,
yeah.
uh, which was a pretty cool sequence when they introduced him into it, like young Luke. But I've kind of checked out after
Hmm.
that because people that I've spoken to, I was going to get back to it, but obviously I had other things going on. And by the sounds of it, they've kind of got a bit shit because they brought Boba Fett into it or something. But I thought that would have made it more epic, but apparently it's not.
Well,
Um,
Boba Fett's in season 2 of The Mandalorian.
See, I can't remember him being in it. Oh yes, he was actually. Yeah, I do remember now. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Because
So
him and
in
Mando have a bit of a battle, don't they?
yeah. So in season 2, he's pretty good. He's back to being sort of epic and cool again. And then after season 2, we go to the Book of Boba Fett, which is boring as hell because Boba Fett, instead of wanting to be a criminal, wants to be really really nice, which kind of destroys his character basically. It's kind of boring, meanders, and then at the end we get the Mandalorian back for a couple of episodes
Yeah.
to pick up Grogu. And helps Mando at the end. Helps the Boba Fett at the end of that season, and then we get Mando season 3, which is not really about Mando. Really, it's mostly about the other Mandalorians and taking back Mandalore, um, which is not bad, but it's not as good as the first 2 seasons. Um, and it kind of just ends. Um, and suppose this is the movie that they're going to be setting up with Mando and Grogu. So I
Bear in
don't know if it.
mind,
Hmm?
bear in mind of like completely fucked up. Like they've brought great characters and great things into it. But they've also destroyed the Star Wars lore as
Hmm.
well in so many ways with the shall we say the new sequel trilogies. Yeah. Interesting premise when they begotten, but then it just kind of went right. Oh, thanks for screwing that up for us.
Yeah. Episode 7 had a lot of promise, which got absolutely nuked with episode 8. And then I never went to see episode 9. So I didn't bother with that one.
The thing is, George Lucas had what got reportedly had ideas and had already written scripts for 7, 8, and 9, apparently,
Yeah,
or
he
maybe
wrote
just
a
7.
story outline, so he did.
Yeah, which the obviously Disney's like, no, no thanks. Even though you would have thought they would have listened to him, he was the creator of the whole Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but they said they wanted to do something for the fans, and that's when they end up with episode 7. So, and then there was no real sort of plot over the trilogy that was probably agreed. It just were left up to Rian Johnson to write episode 8 with no sort of plan for episode 9.
Which,
So
by the way, episode 8 was the first movie that they didn't actually have a lightsaber duel, an actual proper. It's the first movie
yeah,
that didn't actually have a lightsaber duel,
yeah, basically,
which pissed a lot of fans off as well.
yeah, and the Shadow Overlook, which was not great
Yeah,
either.
that too. Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get more into that once we review those films. Anyway, so apparently there's going to be a new film called Star Wars Starfighter. It's meant to be released in 2027. Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy is making a Star Wars movie, and Ryan Gosling is in the lead role. Revealed as Star Wars Starfighter at Celebration 2025, the feature is moving along at pace with a release window of 2027. No other details have been revealed, but Levy has spoken about what it was like signing up to the franchise. Getting that call was a great day, he said. It was in the edit room on all the light we cannot see, and I looked at my phone, and it was Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, the one and the only. This began a conversation which led to her inviting me to develop and make my Star Wars movie. I'm putting everything into it because I love that world and it is a privilege to get to join that galaxy.
And it puts a shudder when I hear her name as well.
A shudder in the force.
When I swear to God, right, I think that whenever her name gets mentioned or whatever, I think every Star Wars fan out there just gets a slight shiver going, fuck off. Fuck off.
Hammer in the force.
Yeah. There's a disturbance. Something I haven't felt since the Star Wars new prequels.
Episode 9. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So Sean Levy is a good director. I'll give him that. Ryan Gosling's a good actor. Whether the script's great or not, I don't know what it's going to be about. I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be sort of about starfighters, so space battles, I would imagine. Um, and that's roughly all I can kind of tell from the title. Don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really give any clues to when it's set in the timeline. I don't know. We'll have to wait probably next year before we get any more sort of information.
I can get, well, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I've got a funny feeling what's going to happen is this starfighter is going to be strong with the force, and then he's going to get trained, and then he's going to come across Ray, and she's going to train him or something like or something stupid like that. So that's my prediction. But so, not filled with the greatest of um, optimism, but I'm optimistic to a certain point.
Oh Jesus! Right. Anywho, right. Yeah, whatever. Right. Simon Kinberg's new Star Wars trilogy. Release date unknown. According to Deadline, Simon Kinberg is set to direct a new trilogy that will be considered episodes 10 to 12. There's no details other than Kinberg will write all 3 movies and produce them with Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy. Darth Kennedy. It's unclear whether or not the movies will continue the Skywalker saga or create a new story entirely. In addition to the upcoming standalone Rey movie, Kinberg's trilogy is also reportedly set to feature Rey in some capacity. So I think maybe they kind of learned the lesson last time that they've actually went to one person to do the entire 3 films, but which is probably a bit better than last time. But do we really need an episode 10 to 12 this soon? I seriously doubt it. I don't think anyone cares.
So what's truth? Fucking hell. So Right. Okay. Fair enough. Right. Simon Kinberg. Fair enough. If he does a good job, cracking. All right. He might be the man that can save the Star Wars universe. Well done. All right. I know it's a bit shitty for all the actors and the crew and everything else, but why not redo 7, 8, and 9 and do a better job of it this time? You know, like a lot of fans are more for it than rather than just a continuation of the sheer shittery that is 7, 8, and 9. And no offense to everyone that worked on the film, you know, like you worked as hard as you could. You know, there is certain elements of it that I did like, but others that are just like hand on the head, just what the fuck. Um, but and you know, remake them and like with the technology that we have these days, you know, you could CGI Carrie Fisher and Carrie Fisher into it and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So um, whether or not Harrison Ford would be up for coming back into Star Wars again after he got what he wanted and his character ends up getting killed is a different matter. But you know, like I think they'd be better off doing that. And I think the Star Wars fans will probably be more for it. Well, the older fans anyway, maybe not younger fans. Yeah, but anyway.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's why I went into the books and the extended universe, which are kind of take place after the original trilogy, with focus on Luke, Han, Leia, and their kids, and the ongoing story there, which got absolutely canned when Disney took over Lucasfilm, and they didn't continue that sort of legacy of that story anymore. Uh, which they could still have done because you could still make more money out of it and just put legends on top of it, like you have done, and just put it as a different universe. But there you go. Anyway, aye. So I think they want to do more Star Wars movies, but they're gonna have to sort it out and make it. I don't know, some sort of make it appealing to Star Wars fans, and I don't think many fans care about this stuff anymore. So because there's no Skywalkers left, so how can you make it a Skywalker saga still when Rey's not a Skywalker? Um, you've killed them all. So hey ho. All right, we got a new Rey movie apparently. It was revealed at Celebration 2023 that a new movie is coming that will focus on Rey, and it'll be set after the Rise of Skywalker Episode 9, and will Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order, which is a big slap to the face because that's what Luke did in the extended universe. So instead of Luke doing it in this, we'll have Rey do it, and she'll make it better. It will be directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, who helmed Miss Marvel's Episode 4 and 5. Watchmen showrunner Damon Lindelof and the Strain executive story editor Justin Britt Gibson were originally attached to write, but exited the project. It was announced that Stephen Knight was working on the screenplay instead, with Kathleen Kennedy previously saying that the script is weeks away. Knight, however, subsequently left the project, and George Nolfi took over. So yeah, there's ongoing things with that. Still no sort of release date for Rey movie. The fans are gutted. We're all gutted about that. Yeah, right. I don't care about a Rey movie. I'm not going to see that. Apparently, it's meant to take 15 years after Rise of Skywalker. Um, I don't know. What do you think?
Um, yeah, there's not a lot I can say about it. It's just it is what it is. Like, maybe they're going to try and salvage what they can from what they've done in 7, 8, and 9. I don't know. I don't know how you could salvage it, especially after episode 9, which was laughable. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And, anybody calls for it after it comes out, we may review it if somebody calls for it. But
Oh
it's just
Jesus. Um,
which no doubt somebody will just to fuck with us. But
that's if it does come out. Like I'm still not hearing any news about it. So
the,
James Mangold Star Wars movie, unknown release date. Indiana Jones 5 director James Mangold, who made that abominable Indiana Jones movie, is working on a film that will be set thousands of years in the past, focus on the first Jedi. Sounds a lot more interesting. When I
yeah,
first started
definitely.
talking to Kathleen King about doing one of these pictures, what occurred to me was thinking about what kind of genre of movie from Star Wars I wanted to do. And I thought about a biblical epic like the Ten Commandments about the dawning of the Force. Where did the Force come from? When did we discover it? And when did we learn how to use it? From that moment, I stepped in, and George brought me into the company. There's been a lot of interest in that because former President Kathleen told us back in June.
Thing,
Uh,
thing,
yeah. So
thing is, for years, fans have been crying out for years for like for them to dive into the old stuff. And for whatever reason, it's fallen on deaf ears. You know what I mean? Like for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like I remember when they announced that we're doing 7, 8, and 9 as well. A lot of fans were like, "Well, why? You know, it's ended at 6. Why not go back?" I remember a lot of people kind of up in arms about it, and it makes more sense to go back to the old Republic because you can get some really good material from it, and from that expand the universe. You know what I mean, and get more interest. But by going back to the old Republic, I think they could really salvage Star Wars and get it back up into peak performance as long as they're not making stupid ass decisions again. But
yeah, like I always said, like we've always said, like you should always go back to the old Republic, like the games, and like do movies on that, and do like big battles between Sith and the Jedi, and even go further back to if you want to do like the beginning of the Sith, um, and maybe go on from there, get all bit into
could
the
you
old Republic, and
could you imagine that, like in the old Republic days and everything else, when the Sith were at their peak and the Jedi and everything else, the lightsaber duels you could see,
hmm,
that'd be epic. Like that would bring a lot of Star Wars fans back into the fold. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, oh my god, like it'll get a buzz back to it as well. And people are like, oh, did you see, you know, did you see that lightsaber duel? Oh no, 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 this was more epic. You get that sort of fan excitement again, you know? But
yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go. It's a bit of history that's not really been explored on the movies, has been in the comics and sort of books and all that sort of stuff in games. But I don't know, they just don't want to do it. But I don't know, maybe they will eventually learn at some point that this is what we kind of really want and this is what the fans would want, and they might do it. But we'll have to
yeah,
wait and see.
after losing millions and millions of dollars, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie also revealed at Celebration 2023. Dave Filoni will helm a live action Star Wars movie. It will bring together Disney Plus shows so far as The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and The Book of Boba Fett into a cinematic event. It's set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Yeah, we're still waiting for the second season of Ahsoka. So I don't know. It's maybe going to be. Have you seen Ahsoka, the TV show?
No, I don't think I have, no.
Yeah,
I'm really
yeah,
far behind on that sort of stuff, but I will eventually watch it. But it's just so much other things that I'm needing to watch and do and all the rest. It just never really feels like there's any time. You know?
yeah. I think the movie that Dave Filoni wants to do. That's the guy with the cowboy hat. I couldn't remember his name before. He's got Admiral Thrawn in the Ahsoka series, and I think that's going to be like the the culmination of that sort of storyline. I think that's what he wants to do in that movie. Which is fair enough, I suppose. Taika Waititi Star Wars movie. See, like, there's loads of people that have been rumored and told that are saying, "Oh, we're doing a Star Wars movie, we're doing a Star Wars movie," but there's no sort of there's no like, information on it. It's just like, "Oh, so and so is doing a Star Wars movie, so and so is doing a Star Wars movie, so and so is doing another one." Oh, he's maybe directing an upcoming Star Wars movie. Yeah, whatever. We haven't locked anything in when he said when he meant blah blah blah. So he's saying he's going to do one, but there's nothing really information about that. Basically, yeah, we don't know. Anyway, maybe a Lando movie. Like, who wants a Lando movie? Anyway,
They've done a Han Solo movie, so why not?
uh, yeah, so there's a Lando movie. Ryan Johnson's new Star Wars trilogy, which has been talked about for years.
No, 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 no. Right off. You fucked up episode 8. No, fuck off. Dickhead.
Yeah, so there's still that. No one cares about. Sorry, Rogue Squadron. Back in December 2020, Disney announced that the Wonder Woman 1984 helmet, Patty Jenkins, was expected to take the reins of the next Star Wars movie. See, like, even back in 2020, they were still saying, "Oh, so and so is going to take this role, or someone's else going to do this one, someone's going to do this one," but there's still nothing. Like, nearly 5 years later, there's still no more Star Wars movies. What is going on?
I don't see the point in like announcing it until it's set in stone. You got a script, you got like, at least the script and the director locked in, and then announce it,
Yeah.
But
I think they're just trying to throw stuff out there so they can kind of get some sort of press. Just keep the name out there, but Star Wars, but no one cares.
It pisses people off.
Yeah, at least George Lucas kind of had the point of like, "Oh well, I'll go away for a bit, and then we'll just shut up about Star Wars," and and then came back with the prequels and was like, "Way." Yeah, so there's that one which no one knows about. No one cares. Cancelled Star Wars movies. There's Kevin Feige Star Wars movie. Yeah. Other cancelled movies. No. Yeah, no one cares. Basically. It's just basically. The original plan when Disney bought Lucasfilm for upwards of $4 billion, $4 billion, was to release standalone anthology movies between all the new saga episodes. That meant that 2 year gaps between The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker were to be punctuated by Rogue One and Solo. And at one point, it looked like there'd be a third Star Wars story after The Rise of Skywalker. Then the relatively disappointing box office performance of Solo prompted Disney to rethink their strategy. Yeah. So no one cared because it sucked. I never went to see Solo. So after the Last Jedi, I walked out and I was like, nah, I'm done.
See, I did. I went and watched it, and it wasn't too bad. It was, it was what it was. The plot was pretty thin, but there was quite a lot of kind of fast-paced action and things like that. But the plot was kind of thin. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Meant to have a new season of Star Wars Visions, Volume 3, in October this year. Incredible anime compilation of different episodes with different characters and stuff. It's kind of like a sort of Japanese anime kind of way that they draw the characters and stuff, which is quite interesting, I suppose, if you just want to check it out. The Ninth Jedi, which might be release dates next year, apparently, at some point. In addition,
the other eight.
I don't know. I don't know. Wait. In addition to this season of Visions, one of the episodes is being expanded into its own show. The Ninth Jedi follows a young Jedi, Cara, as she tries to save her dad after he gets captured by Sith in a timeline where the dark side is running rampant. So yeah, there's that, and then there's this Maul TV show, I think it's like an animated show. I think the fan favorite Sif is coming back for his own animated show. The series will feature Maul on a quest to train a new apprentice, with the belief being it'll reintroduce Darth Talon to the canon universe. Sam Witwer is back to voice the evil Force user who did all the voice work for Maul and sort of the Clone Wars and the other one. What was the other one? Rebels.
Rebels, yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. He's developed a dedicated following over the years, playing some Rebels, the Clone Wars, and obviously Solo. So yeah, he gets his own sort of TV show, Mandalorian season 4 at some point. Yeah. Partly before the dual strike shut down Hollywood, season 4 was written and ready to go. But when Hollywood ground to a halt, Lucasfilm pivoted to a movie, leaving season 4's future in doubt. So obviously they're doing the Mandalorian and Grogu movie before this. So we don't know if there's going to be a season 4 after the movie or not. But then, Pedro Pascal's busy doing other stuff, so it's not like he's hanging about. But I'm no bothered if there's going to be a full season or not, because I think, well, what story can you tell, really, basically? And Ahsoka season 2. There's going to be that at some point, maybe in the next couple of years. I don't care. And a droid story or something about fucking, I don't know, the robots. I don't know. Anyway, that's that. So, what do you think?
I think, well, to be the whole Maul series and that, I think that would be great. Like, I did like what they did with Clone Wars and Rebels and things like that. And Sam Witter, is that his
Sam
name?
Witwer.
Witwer, that's the one. Yeah. He's done a really good job with the voice and everything else. I have seen videos out there where he's explaining the final battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, because there's all that up in arms about, like, oh, how did he kill him and all the rest of it. And he explains about the different stances. So you have the Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan stance, like, that he does in the prequels, and then he does, the Ben Kenobi stance from, the originals, and then to Qui-Gon's stance before Maul kills him, sort of thing. And he explains that obviously he kind of tricks Maul with Qui-Gon's stance, sort of thing, and makes Maul think, right, well, I know how to kill you, and obviously tricks him and like slices, I think he slices through him or something, and basically kills him. And that stuff like that. So I have seen videos like that where he's explaining, because like people are like, well, how did he kill him, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like there has been people having those conversations. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like a sort of a psychological battle at that point, which makes sense. I wasn't that bothered about it, to be honest. I was just a bit gutted that they killed Maul, because apparently George Lucas' original plan for the sequels was to have Maul in the sequel trilogy as the big bad.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And he would have like a younger apprentice, which was going to be like a female. That was meant to be Darth Talon, who was the female. His apprentice, and that was meant to be the big bad for the sequel trilogy. And he was meant to be like a big underground boss in the criminal underworld. And I think they're kind of alluding to that in Solo, but they obviously killed him in Rebels, so but I think that was originally, apparently that was George Lucas' original plan. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with the series, and
Yeah. Out of all that content that they're supposed to be releasing, I think the one I'm most excited for is probably Maul. As you pointed out, he's a fan favorite, isn't he? So he's one of my favorites as well, and I'll be interested to see where they go with him next. So but you never know with the Star Wars universe. There might be some way of bringing Maul back to do be the big bad, like you say, and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe not, but
yeah.
But I think that is it for news. Unless you got anything else.
Now.